Hey, what is good, my little dum-dum? Welcome to episode 3 of the Dummy Head podcast. I am your host, the ghost of podcast past, James LaFountain. This podcast is brought to you by the old banana peel I left in my car yesterday. I hope you're ready for another blast from the past. This is the 3rd episode of the podcast, and I just want you to know that I love you. And if you're my mom listening right now, thank you for tuning in, and get ready to learn a lot of stuff about your son you might not want to know. I went to Zumiez today just to remember how old I am and remember how fucking expensive that store is. Like, every shirt in there is like $50. I'm a little jacked up on kombucha right now. It's all I got in my system is kombucha, SCOBY, and nicotine. For legal purposes, I'm not vaping in this apartment. This show is for entertainment purposes only. For continuity purposes, the vape that was sitting right there a second ago, that was CGI. You might have noticed that the first 3 episodes, they all have different intro songs. The first one I did was just some random beat that I made. The second one was a preview of a download from the Adobe stock website. And I got a copyright claim on the second episode on YouTube, so I can't use that anymore. And the third one is another beat that I made, but it's a guitar beat, so it's way cooler. And, you know, the fourth one, I might make something special. I kind of want to make something specifically for the podcast. Or if you are a producer out there and you want to send me free beats, go for it. dummyheadpodcast@gmail.com. Or if you want to send me your feet pics or your fan art, if you want to send fan art, I'll start putting it up. I'll start putting it up over here on my Japanese style dressing partition. I'm wondering if this video might get age restricted because there is a set of 6 butt cheeks over here. All respect to Pink Floyd, one of my favorite bands of all time. The first music that I ever tripped to. I was at work not too long ago and Another Brick in the Wall was playing, and that's what I do, is build walls. And it was just a good reminder that I'm just another brick in the wall, and that's okay. Sometimes you got to be a cog in the machine because it keeps things going, man. All my plants are dying because I don't get no sunlight in this apartment. The only light that I get is the blue light from my phone and the white light from this podcast ring light. And I have a bright light that I play with at night. I want to talk about the importance of breakfast. For every breakfast you're not eating, I'm eating 2. I had 2 breakfasts today, and that is how I know I'm a growing boy. Life is all about growth, you know? It's about fungal growth. And that's it. That's about it. So I got done reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and I really liked it. It was a great book. There was some stuff in there. It wasn't perfect, but he acknowledges it in the book. It's a very self-aware, self-help book. Some of the things that I liked in it was, you know, taking responsibility for everything that happens to you, no matter what, even if it's not your fault. Because most things that happen to you aren't your fault, but just taking responsibility and, you know, being able to handle it the best. Another thing was kind of just reevaluating your values. That was great. And it was funny because I listened to Your Mom's House podcast with Tom Segura and his wife, Christina P. He has another podcast where he just talks to other people, kind of more just one-on-one, him and other people. And the latest episode was Mark Manson, the dude that wrote The Subtle Art. And I like to look at those little synchronicities because it kind of makes me feel like I'm on the right path. So if you clicked on this video, you are on the right path. I'm just going to say a random number and you'll see it, right? So 47, you'll probably see that somewhere. Eventually you will. So when you do, write in. I don't know why I did this for write in. Call me at dummyheadpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, I've been having some really, really nutty dreams lately. Man, the other night I was having like a nightmare. Like, it actually woke me up. I can't remember exactly what it was about, but it was like, it's pretty scary stuff. Like this demon was like fucking me up, you know? The night before that, I had a dream that I was in like some war bunker, and it was not good. I'm not going to go into it. But last night, I slept with a crystal under my pillow, and I dreamt about feeding the homeless. And I came up with like a crazy melody while I was in my dream. And I wish I could remember it, but I can't. So this is a PSA to everybody. Put crystals under your pillows and you will have awesome dreams. If you want to tell me about your dreams, nobody else wants to listen to your dreams, I will listen right into dummyheadpodcast@gmail.com. I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting and probably a little too much self-reflecting because I think that's why my dreams have been so nutty. It's because I'm just like battling in my mind all day and trying to like, you know, learn all this different like philosophical stuff. And, you know, one thing I keep coming back on is, you know, not being so hard on yourself and kind of figuring out where that comes from, being hard on yourself and just the things that you might be improving on or fixated on. Why is that? And asking yourself that and just to, you know, really accept things the way they are. Even if you are trying to improve, you have to accept things in the present and mostly accepting other people as they are. I think that's a big one because a lot of people are trying to change other people, and the most you could do is just let them know that you might be concerned, but you can't change anybody. If you're already an adult, nobody wants advice, you know, especially if they didn't ask for it. So that's why, even though this is categorized as a self-improvement podcast, it's not really a self-improvement podcast. It's just me talking shit. I'm just a guy in his apartment sitting here talking to a camera, probably freaking out my neighbors as they walk by the door because I'm talking about who knows what. If any of you are offended that I call you little dum-dum, don't be offended because I'm the biggest dum-dum. I am the king dum-dum, the king dummy head. So yeah, I'm actually real excited to keep this podcast up. It's a semi-weekly podcast, so I'm knocking this one out right now. And tomorrow I'm going to have my first guest. It's going to be my cousin, the world-renowned cousin of James LaFountain, Reed Chaseon Brown. So I got cut off in traffic the other day, and it wasn't even traffic really. It was just me in this other car, and he almost fucking smashed into me. And I have a dash cam, so I got video of it. You know, I don't have the best memory when it comes to like describing cars and people and stuff like that if I just seen them for like a split second. But man, I was studying that video and I'm like, I'm going to see this car again and I'm going to find this guy. I will find you. But no, I got so mad. Like I was going straight and he was coming out and he almost just smashed into me. He wasn't looking. And when I got ahead of him, looking in my rearview mirror, and this dude is just laughing, and I got like Hulk rage was in me, and I rolled down my window and just told him what an idiot he was. It kind of ruined my day and ruined my next day and all that. You know, I'm kind of glad it happened though, because I don't really get mad that often, especially to the point where I'm like cussing at strangers. Like I don't ever do that, but it happened, and it just maybe that guy doesn't even exist. Maybe that was just like an agent of the Matrix sent to remind me that, for one, always be on the lookout out there when you're driving, because, you know, you might be the best driver in the world, but someone out there is going to be an idiot and smash into you. Hopefully not. I'm not trying to put that out there, but you always have to watch out for that. So yeah, I was pretty mad about that. And, you know, obviously I'm over it now, but just the amount of time that it took me to get over it was like, why is this still stuck in me? You know, something I couldn't let go of right away. And because I would never do that to anybody. Not saying I don't make mistakes while driving, but just the fact that he was laughing, I was like, I really wanted to get out and fight this man. And I could have taken him, you know, but I didn't, because it was right outside of my work and I was in a rental car. Maybe that's why he was laughing, because I got so like, I didn't get scared, but I was just like, oh shit. And I'm in this rental car, and you know, that's the first thing people think when you're in a rental car is like, oh, let's go fuck it up. But I didn't know the whole insurance situation. And that's just my natural reaction, is to avoid car collisions. I got real mad at him and rolled down my window and cussed at him. And that's even on the dash cam audio. Yeah, just since starting this podcast and kind of doing all the self-reflecting that I'm doing, just because I got to watch myself on camera and do the editing and all that. You know, I've been trying to absorb a lot of different information about sort of self-help, self-improvement type stuff, just like with the Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck book that I just read. You know, obviously that's something you should care about, but just how much energy you devote to giving a fuck about these things that happen to you, and also taking responsibility for how you react, because, you know, at the end of the day, you do choose how to react to everything. One thing in that book that I didn't really necessarily love, when it was on that topic of taking responsibility, and he was saying that before he wrote the book, he made a blog post about taking responsibility, even if it's something like losing a loved one or something. Somebody wrote in, or they wrote a comment that his son just died in a car crash, and, you know, how could you choose how to react to that? In the moment, if something happens and you react, you don't really have a lot of control of just how your psyche and your body is going to react. You do have a choice after that going forward, because some people, like at a funeral, they can make it about themselves and they just make a huge scene and stuff, and everybody is just so annoyed at this person because they're disrespecting the person who has passed, you know. But just even in your own mind, the way you deal with these types of things, it is your responsibility to choose how you react. You know, I think it's important to talk to people about these things because it can give you a different perspective and all that. It's a pretty self-aware book though, because in the book he even talks about being right and being wrong, how some of the things even in the book are probably wrong. And yeah, I know a lot of people who are really kind of obsessed with being right, and for whatever reason they don't want you to be right, and they always want to be the one that's right. You know, I've always been kind of the type of person that, for one, is willing to acknowledge when I'm wrong. I don't want to continue saying something that is just totally wrong. And so if you have a correction, or if you have the right answer to something, I'd like to know that, so just for myself. But you can really tell when people just really get off on being right about stuff. You know, that's not what this podcast is about. We're all about being dummies and just totally disregarding science. No, I'm kidding. But, you know, even science, like, you know, hundreds of years ago, they thought the sun revolved around the earth, you know, so science is still learning and making mistakes and being corrected. You know, how could you think you as a human being, one person, has it all figured out? You know, the great philosopher Aristotle said, "It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain an idea without fully accepting it." And so I think that is a very good thing to be able to do. There's no growth if you're just stiff and rigid in your beliefs. And I don't really believe anything or disbelieve anything. Try not to. And life is just more fun that way. You know, once you get set and you're so set in your ways, and there's no room for growth or improvement or any other type of thinking, people can't even have a conversation with you, you know, and it's important not to take yourself so seriously, especially things that can't even really be proven, like, you know, going to heaven or what happens after you die or whatever. Like, no, you don't know that. Nobody knows that. The only way to know something is after the fact it's happened. And then even then, you might not actually really know, you know? Do you know? Because I don't know. I think I'm going to keep these podcasts shorter. The last one I did was about an hour long, fully without editing. And then I edited it down to about 36 minutes. And it takes quite a while. I want to talk about that a little bit too, because just the second podcast I did, I feel like the pacing of it and those jump cuts was a little bit jarring. And I was kind of trying to eliminate some of the pauses and some of the you knows and and those filler words. I feel like that kind of takes away a lot of the natural rhythm. And I was only doing it because I felt like it made me sound so stupid. because, some of the stuff that I'm saying, I'm like figuring it out as I'm saying it, and that's okay. That's how people talk. And this is a podcast. It is not a TikTok. On that note of social media and stuff, in my own life, I've been kind of phasing out social media, just all of it in general. I don't think it's really that good for me to be scrolling endlessly, especially when you have like hundreds of people that you're following, and just that temptation to, scroll a little bit and then you close out of the app and then you might open it right back up because you kind of have that feeling that you might be missing out on something, or just like I said, there's so many people that you're following that it's just constant. So I'm trying to at least pick and choose who I'm following, mainly the stuff that I really, really should be interested in and the people that I should be following, and just kind of cutting out a lot of that unnecessary distraction. Because I kind of go back and forth with the idea that people's attention spans are shortening, because people will for sure sit down and listen or even watch. Sometimes people will watch a full 2-3 hour podcast, and people do it with movies still. They will watch a full length film. Now we have stuff like TikTok and reels and stories and all that, and I just don't think it scratches the same itch as the longer form stuff. If you're telling a really good story, or if you're really engaging with your personality or your humor or something, you can keep people on the line for a longer time. And so I think it is up to the creators to kind of hold that line and say, no, I'm not going to like cut myself short just because I think people are tuning out. People are going to tune out. They're going to tune in. Some are only going to check out, clips from your podcast. Some people are going to watch the whole thing. A lot of the time with podcasts, there's a lot more freedom to do that, because people, for the most part, aren't just sitting down and not doing anything else but listening to your podcast. For the most part, they're doing something else. So you don't have to worry if there's going to be, and I'm telling myself this, you don't have to worry that just because there's a little bit of a pause, or you might be dragging on a little bit too long about something, that they're just going to turn it off. I think recognizing people's attention spans is a good thing, because even in movies, it's something you have to think about. And, just how long a scene is, or how long this piece of dialogue is. You want to keep people engaged, and yeah, whatever. So that was why I was doing that with the jump cuts. But so I'm trying to get better at the editing and the speaking part of it, and hopefully that makes it easier for me to edit. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode, number trace of the Dummy Head podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you clicked on this video, even if you got this far in it, bless your little dummy heart. And I will be back with another episode as soon as I can. I hope you all get your rest and eat your breakfast, drink your water, take your vitamins, maybe read a book, go outside, get off the TikTok. It is rotting your brains. Peace.
Baby, we can get away from here. You don't gotta cry today. Those tears, I'll dry them off your face. If you need it. Why does every moment go so fast? Killing every minute that we both have. I'd make the world stand still so you could see it. So say the word and I will follow you into the night. I don't know how I ever made it without you.